Hey everyone, it's Duncan from Overland Journals. Today's video is something some of my subscribers have been asking for a while, and I finally get around to doing it. And it's about my video filming kit, what I have in my kit, and if that's something that interests you, hang around. Welcome back everyone. If you're new to my channel, hit that subscription button and the notification bell. My channel is all about sharing my experiences in overlanding with the rest of the community. And at the end of this video, if you liked it, you found it useful, please give it a thumbs up. And got any questions, comments, leave them below or write to me at duncan@overlandjournals.com. Today's video, I'm going to go through the different pieces of camera gear and associated accessories I've got and how they help me to get the footage that I get. It's not a video about the camera settings I have. That I will do as a separate video down the track. If it is something that interests you, please do write to me or leave them in the comments below. Also, I've been revamping my website and cramming in a lot more information in there so that everybody benefits from it. So head on over to my website if you want to get more information about everything that I talk about today or everything else that's done in my other videos, and there will be a detailed blog post on each and every video. Also in the description will be links to where I bought each and every one of these pieces of gear, and the same links will be available in my blog post. Now, something I will say from the outset is if you're just getting into filming, whether it's for a YouTube channel or just for your own personal keepsakes, if you just want to test the waters and see how you go with it and you're in this early stages of developing your skill, before you go and spend all that money and buy all this gear, and if that's what you want, by all means go for it. But your best place to start is your smartphone. Smartphone video recording or photography technology is amazingly good these days. And I and Johnny, we are photographers by profession. That's what we do for a living. So we always have access to high-end gear. But still, when I first started out, I started out with an iPhone 8. If you go back into my channel and go into some of my earlier videos of the early days when I started this channel, they were shot using an iPhone 8. In technological terms, iPhone 8 is prehistoric right now, and yet it turned out some really good footage. So think about that and start with what you have. Okay, so before I dive into each and every piece of equipment and details and what accessories I have for them, let me quickly show you what I do have. So I have one DJI Action camera. I have a DJI Osmo Pocket. I have a Sony A7III mirrorless camera. For aerial photography and aerial videography, I have my DJI Mavic Pro. That's the very first one that came out. There has been an improvement on this. And then for audio recording, I have my Rode directional mic. And for getting those ambient sounds, the background sounds, birds chirping in the background, I have a Zoom H1N. And then to carry all this, I have this sort of medium-sized backpack. Now, those of you who've been following my channel for a while will know when it comes to anything, and it's travel related particularly, I like to keep things simple. So that's sort of the mentality I've had with my camera gear as well. So I've kept it very small, few cameras to carry around, as light as possible, because that's what I want. When I want to get some footage, I can grab it off the backpack, record, or if I'm going for a walk or hike or whatever, it's easy to carry. I try to keep my life very simple. And as far as image quality is concerned, at the very end of this video, I will put some sample videos from each and every one of these cameras so you get an idea of what they can turn out. Okay, so now to dive into a little bit more detail on each and every one of these cameras. So let's start with the Osmo Action. There is a number of other action camera brands out there. GoPro is one of them. I've just always had DJI products, and that's why I'm with them. And they've worked well for me. Now, bulk of my filming is done using this camera, because now everything that happens inside the 4B, whereas Johnny and I are seated inside and either speaking into the camera or having a conversation or whatever that goes on inside the cab as we travel, this records. And this goes onto one of these accessories. Now, this is not a brand at all. It's a cheapie that I bought of Amazon. Again, links in the description below for all these. And this is a heavy duty suction mount bracket for the Osmo Action. And the other thing about the Osmo Action camera I like is that all the attachments are the same attachments as for a GoPro. So it's pretty, when you buy the accessories, it's quite easy to find them. And this sits on the windscreen, the suction puck-ups. I position it the way I want it captured. And then the Osmo Action's base piece here screws onto that, and then I just adjust this piece the way I want to get the what I call frame the image, right? So that's that one piece of accessory that goes off with the Action camera. Also, I use this camera for getting what I call, or what is known as, B-roll footage. Now, those who have been watching my videos will know I sometimes capture the outside from behind the car as the road sort of behind falls away as I'm driving. I get the skies, and these are all filmed from outside the vehicle, outside my 80 series. Now, how do I do that? And this is how I use that. This is a really cool accessory. The base is a magnet, and the top here obviously is for the Action camera to be screwed on and adjusted exactly the way the filming wants. I want the filming to be done. Thereafter, all I do is plunk this on to the metal body or any metal surface, and it is such a heavy duty magnet, it stays stuck onto it. I've had this on corrugations, bumpy roads, and I've always had this fear that it would come off. So what I would do I would tie a piece of string around here and I attach it to something somewhere on the body, like the roof rack or something, and so that even if this came off, I wouldn't lose it. That's a little tip for you. But it has never ever come off. So that's a really cool piece of kit to have to get outside shots as you're driving. And then I've also got this selfie stick. Again, it's a no brand. It's one of those things I picked up from Amazon, and it's a selfie stick, stretches out about a meter, and the camera again screws onto that end of the selfie stick. It's sort of, when I'm particularly doing vlogging, this is really, really useful. And that's as far as the Osmo Action's accessories are concerned. What do I like about the Osmo Action? Now, oh yeah, there's one more piece of accessory I should mention, is this little piece here. That little piece is if you want to get an external mic into. So this does not come with the Osmo Action. This piece has to be bought separately, link in the description below, and all you do is push it in there, and the microphone, which is my Rode microphone here, goes in there, right? And that is where the microphone input is. So if you want to get a microphone input rather than relying on the on-camera microphone, then you need to get this little extra piece of accessory. Now, talking of microphones, I also use what's called a Rode Go wireless camera. Now, keep watching the video. I'll come to the audio side of things a little later on once I've gone through my cameras. Apart from that, I like this camera because it's very tough. I've put it through really rough use. As you can see, the front-facing screen is cracked. Now, what's that? Some of you may wonder. Well, as you would have seen in any camera, you get the back screen, which will show you what you're recording. But this has also got a front-facing screen. So if you're doing a vlog or recording yourself, or you want to take a picture of yourself, then you can switch it to see from the front. This has taken a beating, but it still works. Its toughness is pretty good. After all, it is an action camera, so it is designed to take a beating. The other thing I do like about the Osmo Action is that this is actually a lens hood, and if I were to scratch or damage this, I can remove it. You can unscrew it. That still protects the lens. There's your lens. Get a new attachment and then put it in there, and there you go, you're all good to go. Image stabilization on this is brilliant. Sometimes I would hold this on my selfie stick and then sort of walk and talk into the camera, or just walk and record whatever my surroundings are. And you know, you don't always get steady hands. I certainly don't have steady hands, but the image stabilization takes care of that at least 90%. I know some other videographers, or some of those who do travel videos, they will carry a gimbal. I do have a gimbal for the business. I don't want to carry a gimbal because it's just too bulky, too heavy. It's another added piece of gear and weight, which I really don't want to be bothered with. So the image stabilization on this helps me with that, and I may not necessarily get buttery smooth panning shots with this, because that all depends on how steady my hand is. But that doesn't matter. It's how I put the edit together at the end of the day. And just getting it a bit into technical, this action camera can also shoot in 4K, and also it can shoot at a higher frame rate of 50 frames per second. Now, those of you who don't know all these frames and stuff, frame rates and so on, don't let that worry you. If that's something you'd like to learn a little bit more about, please do write to me or leave them in the comments below. And when I talk about the settings for the cameras, I'll touch on what those are. But just in brief, it can shoot a high frame rate if you want to get those slow-mo shots when you do your edit. Now for the Osmo Pocket. Now, the image quality coming out of the Osmo Pocket is not as great as the Osmo Action. However, it's still pretty darn good. And when you see the sample footage at the end of this video, you would hardly tell the difference. But the biggest thing I like about this particular camera is the convenience, because it's so small to carry. To put it in perspective, here's my Osmo Action, and that's the Osmo Pocket. That's how small it is. It goes into this little pouch like so, and then that protects it from getting damaged, and you can shove this into your pocket, into my backpack, wherever. I chuck this in the glove compartment, the cubby hole, and it sits there sometimes. Ajani grabs it, and when she wants to get a footage, it's just right there. And it comes with its own stabilizing gimbal, so the footage is pretty smooth. And it's just two buttons, one to switch on and one to hit record. Simple as that. So all you do is keep the on button switched on, the gimbal comes on, and there you go, you're ready to rock and roll. And as I pan around, the gimbal does its job. And if I want to do selfie or a vlog type, all I do is tap on this button here 3 times, and it'll flip around and I can get a selfie mode going. Now, I must warn you, the selfie mode on this, I wasn't too happy with it, in the sense, if I have to hold it from quite a distance, as my arm could stretch for it to pick up and sort of focus in onto my face. So that didn't quite work too well. There have been instances where I would have a lot closer to me and it would focus onto something behind me. So on selfie mode, I haven't been too happy, and I to be honest, I don't use it on selfie mode. I rather use the Osmo Action on selfie mode when I'm like doing vlogging. But however, having said that, if I have it, front facing, and I'm shooting, like landscapes or surroundings, then it does a pretty good job. And this one, Ajani keeps it most of the time, and she gets shots as we're on the go. So that's the Osmo Action. Again, Osmo Pocket. Also, this can do 4K. It can also do at 50 frames per second. So if I want to do a slow-mo edit at the edit stage, it's easy because it's got that high frame rate as well. Nifty little thing, very useful, very handy, and pretty robust too. So this is another one of those convenient pieces of kit that I carry. And then thereafter, when I want to get really brilliant, vibrant landscape shots, mostly or if I want to speak into the camera, but for some reason I want that footage to be really crisp and sharp, then I carry my Sony A7III. This comes with a lot of features, which I'm not going to go into right now. It can do high frame rate shooting, it can do 4K. It is a Sony mirrorless camera, and a lot of the time what I do is I've got this cheap tripod that I carry. Again, It is actually a Manfrotto, but it's one of their lower end offerings. If I break it, it's not gonna, burn a hole in my pocket. And I would plunk this onto the tripod, and then I would get those steady shots and pan across and get clear footage from this. As far as the lens is concerned, I did not go for a Sony, what we call a native lens, because Sony lenses are brilliant as they are. They can be pretty pricey. I do have a couple of Sony lenses, that's for the business, but when I travel, I wanted, again, something a little bit not so expensive, but that would still give me a high quality footage. So I've gone with a Tamron. It is also a native lens. What that means is that it'll seamlessly work with the electronic communication between the Sony body, and it works perfectly. I use some of these for my business as well. So they're really brilliant lenses. Again, this link in the description below, and I'll put all the details. And this is a 28, if you can see there, is a 28mm wide angle all the way up to a 70mm wide angle lens. And for me and the kind of traveling that I do and the kind of filming I do, this lens is pretty good enough. It's not an ultra zoom where you can zoom into birds or wildlife or that sort of thing. And if that's what you want, then maybe perhaps you should consider a zoom lens. But for me, this is lightweight, it's compact, and I can chuck it into my backpack and I'm ready to shoot whenever I need. So those are the only 3 pieces of camera equipment I carry. That's it, and that's more than enough for me, and it does the job. One of the other things I do like about the A7 Sony is that it's got these memory settings. Now, Sony is not the only manufacturer that provides these. Other brands like Canon and Nikon and so on, they do as well. And it's got 2 memories, as you can see. There's a 1 and there's a 2. So what I've done is I've set memory 1 for all my photography settings, which I can still change once I've got but in the flick of a button, I get the photography settings that I generally use. And then away I go taking my shots, and I can adjust that as I go along. And then if I want to quickly switch over to filming, all I do is flick it to memory 2, and then I'm ready to film, and all my favorite filming settings, film recording settings come up. That's what I really enjoy about this. Now, again, when you're thinking of a filming kit, you don't have to go with the Sony. Before I got the Sony, one of the best cameras I've had is called a Canon M50 mirrorless camera, and that's turned out some really good footage for me. If you go back on my playlist and watch some of the travel videos which I did into the Flinders ranges, not the most recent one, the one before that, or to for example Gulwa beach camping trip, that was shot using the M50, and I was extremely happy with it. It's not that great as far as the Sony is concerned, or compared to in low light shooting. Sonys are brilliant for their low light filming, and also the Canon is not a full frame camera, whereas this is. But quite honestly, when you are getting into it, you don't really need a full frame camera. Makes no difference as far as I'm concerned. At the end of the day, what matters is how your creative presentation in the form of your final edit comes out. Now for the drone. So I've got a Mavic Pro. This is the very early ones, the first generation that came out. It's a really cool piece of kit to get those beautiful aerial shots, whether it's photo or video. This is a really cool piece of kit. Thereafter, there has been a second generation that did come out. Image quality on the second generation is even far better. The camera sensor size, everything's been really vamped up, and it's much better than this one. But for travel purposes, I would ideally say go with the Mavic Air. I am in the process of upgrading. This has been used for a number of years, both for the business and for my travels. And my next would be a Mavic Air. It's a lot smaller, not considerably smaller, but it's fair bit smaller than this when it's packed away. Now this one, as it is very easy to pack. So you just fold in the rotor arms, and then once you've packed it in, that's pretty much the size. and I chuck this in my backpack. The Mavic A is about 3/4 the size, if I'm not mistaken, and it's a lot lighter, yet the image quality and sort of the frame rates you can get on it, and you can shoot 4K as well, is pretty darn good, and it's good enough for the ultimate objective of it. So that's for my aerial shots. I don't rely 100%, or I don't go out on a trip saying I have to get a drone shot. It's all about, it's part of a bigger picture, if that makes sense. Sometimes when I go into national parks here in South Australia, I'm not too sure about other states, flying drones are not permitted, and it's very difficult to get permission. So a lot of the time, like when we did the Kangaroo Island trip recently, I hardly did any of a drone footage because it's not permitted. So I don't rely on that 100%. My bulk of my shooting is with the other 3 cameras I just talked about. Now for the audio equipment. Now, so basic equipment again. This is a Rode directional mic with what's known as a dead cat that basically eliminates any wind noise. It depends on how strong the wind is. So if it is really strong, that doesn't really do the job, but it's good enough in most situations. And this will plug into both my Sony A7 as well as it'll plug into my DJI Osmo Action, and it does a pretty good job. I'm happy with it. And if I'm in a situation where I want to record from quite a distance away, so a lot of the time it'll be the Sony where I've got it on a tripod and I'm a bit of a distance away, and I want to still get the audio crisp and clear, then I use what's called a Rode Go. It's a wireless transmitting system. There's 2 units that comes with the Rode Go. One is the transmitter, usually you clip onto your shirt or hold it in front of you or whatever, and then the second unit is a receiver which plugs into the mic input of your camera. That works from a fair distance away. The widest or the longest distance I've tested it is about 60 meters without any obstacles in between, and it worked perfectly. So that's as far as my audio recording is concerned. And to get those ambient sounds, I carry a Zoom H1 recorder, H1N to be exact. This is one of the entry-level offerings from Zoom. It's not their high-end, and that's more than enough. And I can record, and I usually use this to get ambient sound. So like for example, if I get up in the morning and there's birds chirping and I want to get that, I'll just plunk this somewhere and I'll let it just record. So a lot of the time when you watch my travel videos and you hear those background sounds, they are from this most of the time. Sometimes of course the on-camera mic picks it up as well. So I hope you found this video useful. If you liked it, please do give it a thumbs up. If you've got questions or comments, leave them below or write to me at Duncan@overlandjournals.com. And by the way, keep watching this video. At the very end, I've got the sample footage from each camera I talked about. And down the track, I will do another video of the settings that I have for each of these cameras. So I'll show you how I get all those beautiful colors that I do get. And head on over to my website, overland-journals.com. For each video, I will be doing a detailed blog post, so there will be one for this video as well. And links to where I bought each and every one of these pieces of gear and accessory will be in the description below, and as well as on my blog post. If you haven't subscribed already, hit the subscription button and the notification bell. My channel is all about sharing my experiences in overlanding with the rest of the community, and I bring out a video every single week. Thanks for watching.